We're closing in on the 7th Annual Attitude Awards. Today, we bring you the finalists.
"19-year-old Jazz Thornton endured 6 years with mental illness, but she has turned that experience into a campaign to support other young people.
I know, I've been through mental illness myself, and I know that it's not something that you can just wipe away, or one day it's there, the next day it's not. Every single day you have to live with it, but every single day you have to make a decision to not let it define you.
Together with a friend, she created Voices of Hope. It's dedicated to helping teenagers with mental illness. It's a website that tells the stories of famous New Zealanders and how they overcame their challenges.
My name is Taiva and I'm a Voice of Hope.
Because so often teenagers can kind of get stuck in this storm and they just get stranded there pretty much because people are telling me to hold on, people are telling me to stay strong. But the reality is that it will only get better if you choose to actually step out of it.
After fundraising all the money themselves, the website went live in January this year and has been a massive success with examples of hope like Jazz Thornton.
I've been able to walk out of my storm despite all of my circumstances, hold on to hope, and now I'm walking in freedom.
Jess Quinn's big bright smile is an outward sign of the powerful and positive way Jess Quinn approaches life. The 21-year-old lost her right leg to cancer as a 9-year-old. Having undergone complicated surgery, she knew she could support other young cancer patients.
I do it because it's just such a complicated surgery and it's something that's really difficult to wrap your head around. And it would have been really awesome to have someone walk in who's past it now and kind of just living life.
She also felt the prosthetic limbs simply weren't groovy enough, so she's sorting that out, using her talents as a fashion design graduate to give them a zhuzh.
My idea with that is to step prosthetics away from being a solely medical device. So I'm making interchangeable prosthetic leg covers, which are all 3D printed and 3D designed.
Jessica's advice to others to get out and do comes down to her simple motto:
be afraid, but do it anyway. I recently went skydiving and I was kind of freaking out, but then I just did it and it was the best thing I've ever done.
Mary Fisher's gone a long way to fulfilling her personal dreams, with a haul of Paralympic swimming medals, but she's conscious of all the other teenagers with disabilities who need her support.
Yeah, I think it's important for any youth to try something new every once in a while and stick with it if they enjoy it.
Mary was born with a condition called aniridia, meaning the irises are absent in both eyes. The confidence she gained with her success in the pool has helped her in her role as a New Zealand Blind Foundation mentor. And for the past year, she's combined her studies in psychology and human development with working as a parent support worker.
I help out with an organisation called PVI, Parents of Vision Impaired, and my role is just to look at what families in Wellington are struggling with and put them on to people who can hopefully give them a hand.
And in the past 6 months, Mary has added her words of wisdom to a Ministry of Education booklet, My Child, Our Journey.
I'm probably just a persistent person. I'm not what has happened to me, I'm what I choose to become.
Sports mad Matt Weir has always challenged himself to overcome the restrictions of his spina bifida. He's the lead player and lethal weapon for Auckland's Browns Bay Bowling Club, competing in open competition. Matt's part of the winning pairs and triples combinations.
And I hear at least twice a week doing roll-ups, and I go in the odd competition as well. It just appeals to me in terms of the skill required and the competitive aspect of it.
Matt spent his youth as a track racer and weightlifter, competing in half marathons. Pain from scoliosis put him off the track, so he turned his focus to bowls.
I've always had that sort of mentality that no matter how difficult things get, you just got to keep going and carry on.
Matt spent several years developing a method to bowl from his chair and building up his back muscles. When he's not on the bowling green, Matt believes in giving back to society.
Whenever you see a collector out with a bucket, one of them is usually me.
At 43, Matt's a young gun in his sport. He's already accumulating club trophies and he's got his eye on many more.
It's a really good way of motivating yourself to just live life to the full.
A traumatic brain injury at the age of 2 left Tupou Nuifi with paralysis on the left-hand side of her body. Swimming was seen as a way to aid her recovery. Now the 13-year-old is under the spotlight as a potential future Paralympic medalist.
When I was little, my physio, she was like, oh, you should do swimming. And then when I started, I was like, I love it. I really like swimming.
The sport that started as therapy highlighted her courage and boosted her confidence.
She's very self-driven, she's got a lot of determination, and I think that fight to want to be better than what people doubt her in, I think is huge.
Tupou is the national, open and junior record holder in her backstroke event. She's now being coached under the Pathway to Podium program by Paralympics New Zealand.
I felt that moment when I won my first ever medal. I was like, okay, I have a disability and that doesn't mean anything. I can still keep going.
Neelam O'Neill is a sharpshooter with the Rio Paralympics in her sights.
Shooting's quite a precision sport. It's all about accuracy and being able to shoot that little tiny dot that you can't see. I also like beating the boys because it's seen as a masculine sport and I really enjoy it.
She was born with spina bifida. Shooting like this requires absolute stillness, and Neelam faces challenges with spasms.
It doesn't help when I'm trying to shoot, so it's all about trying to time it and calm them down and trying to make sure it doesn't override my thoughts.
When she sets her sights on something, she goes all out. Recently, she graduated with a Bachelor of Science.
Success is shooting at the Paralympics and getting a placing at the Paralympics.
They might just be helmets, but Wanganui's Pacific helmets know they're a vital aspect of health and safety.
It's a high-end product, so the results have to be good, the quality has to be high, and you only get that out of the expertise of your staff.
With that quality product in mind, they weren't sure their work environment was suitable for someone who is an amputee. But Mark's can-do attitude convinced them otherwise.
I was on ACC back in the day, and so I'm just one of these guys that can't keep still, and I needed work and just kept on hounding him. Finally, he got me in for an interview, and yeah, just went from there.
A simple modification to a workbench has enabled Mark to fulfil his role alongside the rest of the gang.
Our job is to supply the environment for them to be able to come forward and come up with these ideas to improve productivity. And in Mark's case, he's obviously got a can-do attitude.
All credit goes to Mark, not really the company. He's the one that challenged the company, said, give me a go, take me on, I'll prove myself right, and he did.
Publishers Fairfax Media has opened its doors to disabled workers. The Creative Spirit Diversity program started with just 2 admin jobs for workers with learning disabilities.
Fairfax is such a great company, they embraced it and there were no obstacles for us. It was just a matter of investigating it, seeing how we might make it work, and it's worked its socks off.
Emma Halverson has done so well, she now has increased her hours to a full-time role. And new recruits like Ben are following in her footsteps.
This year I got a promotion because I've always wanted more hours, and then Marie was like, okay, I'll think about it. So she got in touch with some people and talked to them, and here I am now.
Because they've seen the impact of this program on their own culture, Fairfax managers are actively promoting the Creative Spirit initiative to other businesses.
They come to work just like everybody. We all want to contribute to society, and that gives them a place to be.
Selwyn Cook is not one to stand in the limelight, yet he has shown tremendous leadership in employing disabled people at 14 Z service stations he operates throughout the Waikato.
We consider it a privilege to be able to employ people and have an effect on their lives.
Selwyn was inspired by a story he saw on Attitude. He got straight on the phone to employment agency Workbridge and asked how he could help.
What I was looking for, the potential to offer jobs that would suit the abilities of our clients, and most of all, somebody that had the opportunity to offer long-term, ongoing employment.
At last count, This licensed Z retailer has employed almost 70 job seekers. Many are still with him today.
A lot of employers, they don't want to look past a disability, so it was quite amazing to actually have an employer who was sort of willing to work with my disability and to accommodate me.
Stay near. Sometimes we stay near one and one here. Good job.
With Selwyn's support, Bashar's become an industry star himself. He's the top Z customer service representative for the Waikato region.
I have so much of challenges, but first time I try it, how to do it, then I find that it can be done with single hand, then it's okay for me, then I don't mind anything.
Take off those blinkers, get excited about the opportunity for uniqueness and variety, and if everything else is equal, then why not, and go for it.
Lynn Cotton is passionate about creating opportunities for people with disabilities to have their own creative voice.
Being a dancer doesn't depend on what you can move physically or what you think cognitively. It depends on how you feel and how you feel when you hear music.
Lynn was first enlightened to the beauty of integrated dance 20 years ago in England. On her return to New Zealand, she launched her own dance company, Jolt. Since launching in 2001, Jolt has won a number of awards for excellence and inclusion.
Within Jolt, there are no barriers, so anybody who wants to dance can dance. So we're bringing together a real diversity of people, and we gain uniqueness and beauty and power and all those wonderful sort of things.
Brendan Terrell has dedicated his life post-accident to ensuring others enjoy the freedom of the ocean.
It's actually quite hard for people with a disability to get a connection with the water, so this is the perfect way to do it.
Brendan's the long-standing chairman of Sailability. When he joined the organisation in 2001, there were few boats and no way to transfer people into them. Now they have 23 boats, a regular crew of 60 sailors, and all the equipment to make for smooth sailing.
I'm constantly amazed how much Brendan puts in, because for him it's entirely voluntary. He's got a really great rapport with getting other people involved with sailing. He can really support them and really look at ways of solving problems to get people on the water.
They start right at the spinal unit, roping in potential yachties when they're still in rehab.
Because your life is already limited by sitting in a wheelchair and being restricted in that way, you know, the more independence you can have, I think the more you enjoy your life.
It's called paying it forward. When Petronella Spicer developed a rare eye disorder, she needed support and advice from the Blind Foundation. 22 years later, she's in a lead role with the foundation and a whole heap of other organisations.
I'm just giving back to what I got and just being able to support people and help them through their journey.
Under her stewardship, volunteer numbers have soared and the foundation's social calendar is chocker with outings, bringing the community together.
Because some people find having vision loss very, very isolating. They find it challenging to take that step and get out of their house. It may be just even the members talking to other members and knowing that they are going through exactly the same things.
Petronella's made something of a career out of her volunteering. She's heavily involved in the Red Puppy and Blind Week appeals, a volunteer for Lifeline, a treasurer for the Canterbury Goalball Club, and a treasurer for the Canterbury Caravan Society.
I love supporting people, letting them see that there is light at the end of that tunnel.
Salem Fox has taken the first steps towards an international dance career. At the age of 14, he's already performed in 4 productions with the Royal New Zealand Ballet.
I really love performing on a stage with lots of people watching, and it's just amazing, it really is.
Born with Asperger's, Salem had no communication as a toddler. Dance provided an outlet for his frustrations, releasing anger and unearthing hidden talent.
I like the whole feeling of doing it, you know, it's exhilarating doing heaps of turns and leaps and jumps.
This year he was selected from hundreds of hopefuls to be the junior associate with the New Zealand School of Contemporary Dance. Now, full of confidence, he's mentoring other young dancers. And he's developed a website, Ballet Boy, followed by other male dancers at the London Boys Ballet School.
It helps people understand how I think and how other people with Asperger's think, and how they can understand me a bit more.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Paul Barrett, and I have Tourette's syndrome. This can go on for hours. Just talk among yourselves.
I'm still battling with it. It's been sort of 45 years now, you know. It mustn't stop you. It can't. You can't let something like that stop you from doing what you want to do, you know.
He's an actor, musical director and comedian who has performed in more than 200 productions.
Jaw jutting, you name it, we'll twitch it.
For many, many years, I didn't see it impact, which was the extraordinary thing, and I think a testament to his extraordinary control and tenacity. Because when you're an actor, you have to be completely exposed. You're standing there on the stage, you're stepping inside the skin of somebody else, somebody who doesn't have Tourette's.
In 2011, Paul created a solo show, Tick Tick, for the Auckland International Comedy Festival, which he based around the challenges of living with Tourette's.
One of my successes, I suppose, has been to be in a notoriously difficult business and still be doing it. If you're doing what you love, that fuels continual sort of positivity and determination to overcome it.
As a child, Yaniv Jansen found the world confusing. Born with Asperger's, he sees things in black and white. But he translated his clarity of thinking into vibrant paintings, posing deep questions around climate change, sustainability, or the distribution of wealth.
I'm just happy with all the places I get the paints and canvases.
At the age of 17, he was the youngest finalist to be named in the Wallace Trust Arts Award and the Trust Waikato National Contemporary Arts Award. His latest exhibition, By the Beehives, draws attention to the gradual disappearance of bees from the environment. Yaniv was the first Kiwi to join the Paris-based Art organisation, which works to raise awareness of artists with a disability. Still just 22 years of age, his work has been exhibited in 4 countries.
I thought no other artists will think like me. It feels nice. I'm different to the other artists, especially by the beehives.
When the red light goes on, 14-year-old Muskan is Miss Confidence.
Yo, what's up? क्या हाल है मेरे साथी लोग? मैं हूँ आपकी मुस्कान.
Most listeners have no idea that she experienced years of bullying and exclusion simply because of her disability. Muskan was born with partial hemiplegia, a form of paralysis. She moved to New Zealand as a 5-year-old and was isolated due to her lack of English.
I was excluded quite a lot from school activities, so I became a bookworm.
Developing both language and writing skills, she published her first book at the age of 9. At the ripe old age of 14, she has published her first autobiography. Funds from the book go to Starship. Her radio show reaches out to teenagers and discusses both popular culture and tough issues. She now wants to support the education of other young girls. She's raising funds to build a school in a small village in India.
You pretty much join your own life and you make your life the way you want it to be.
He's our own master chef, 12 years old and with 2 cookbooks already published. Is it making Nicholas Brocklebank rich? No, but he's already raised more than $4,000 for the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Because he has muscular dystrophy, he finds some aspects of cooking taxing.
Mixing's usually quite hard. Usually get my brother or somebody else to do it.
Not one to seek the publicity, Nicholas is nonetheless pretty chuffed with his 2012 Pacific Region Gourmand Award for the best fundraising cookbook.
It was pretty good. They did say you could go to Paris for the awards, but we didn't have the money at the time.
Now he's using that celebrity status to create new recipes, once again donating the proceeds to charity. 11-year-old Oceana is using her talents as a singer to confront the ignorance about disability head-on. The young Christchurch girl has put herself right out there. Performing in New Zealand's Got Talent, she came fourth.
I'm basically telling people through my story, all the people who bully me and call me names and just tease me, that all goes out through my singing.
Oceana was born with a form of dwarfism. She's endured bullying and numerous surgeries in an effort to straighten her limbs. Yet she thinks beyond her own needs. She performs at charity events, supporting organisations to raise awareness about human trafficking and homelessness.
I love helping the homeless because I feel like sometimes they don't have as much things as other people. Well, obviously they don't.
Oceana uses social media to share her experiences, positioning herself as a role model for other kids with disabilities.
If you have like a supporting family like I do, you can get through it much easier than like by yourself.
When Pam McNeil left school at the age of 15 with no qualifications, few could have predicted success.
I remember overhearing my parents have a discussion about what was going to happen to me. You know, she'll never get married or have her own home or have a job. And their view was that I wouldn't be able to amount to anything. And I guess in some ways that kind of spurred me on.
She met and married her biggest fan, who insisted she use her wonderful mind and complete a university degree. Since graduating, she's worked to improve work opportunities for disabled Kiwis and represented New Zealand at the World Blind Union.
I like the opportunity to serve other New Zealanders.
Outside of work, Pam was a founding member of the New Zealand Guide Dog Society and Canterbury Disabled Persons Assembly. Today, she currently works for the Ministry of Health, implementing their Putting People First program.
It just showcases to people who are not disabled what is achievable by people for themselves.
Julie Woods was a mum of 2 toddlers when she lost her vision. Fun needed to remain a factor in her life.
When I first went blind, everything got really serious. So it wasn't until I got back into the kitchen and I started making those bloody truffles that I began to feel empowered.
Discovering she could still cook and have fun was just the start. Julie discovered the beauty of Braille. She fell in love with it and went on to work as a Braille awareness consultant for the Blind Foundation. Julie then branched out on her own, forming her own motivational speaking business, That Blind Woman.
And through my speaking, I believe I can touch people and inspire them beyond their own limits.
Good afternoon, Tyree College.
Hello, Julie. Taking her brand of disability awareness into schools has been something particularly fulfilling for Julie.
Reducing the fear of blindness. So if I'm having fun, they're less scared. And when we're all doing that, our attitudes towards people who are blind and blindness are so much more positive.
Craig Jessup knows an engine like the back of his hand. He was heavily into motorsport and cars before he lost his sight and still does his own repairs. Now he's a technology guru for the Blind Foundation, training people in computer skills.
It's quite an excitement for me because I know how easy it makes my life.
Craig's a legend. He became the first person with a kidney and pancreas transplant to complete the New York Marathon.
When I started my training, my kidneys failed. And so I thought, well, that's it. The attempt to go to New York was gone.
But no, he's now completed 3 New York marathons and is one of the 4 founders of the Achilles Track Club.
I got a run in New Zealand that we do each year called the Hope and Possibility Run on the North Shore. We send teams to New York. It's usually around about 10 people. We've had some great celebrities come with us. And the organisation itself has just grown.
In 2006, Craig jumped on his bike and rode the length of New Zealand to raise money for the Achilles Fund.
Well, I've always been a person that's been determined to do things, whether it's working on a car or whether it's working with a client or whatever. If I can't solve something, I never give up.
Mary Fisher's swimming career is on a forward trajectory. Intense focus and training has produced continuous improvements for this vision-impaired swimmer. Mary's pinnacle event for 2014 was the Pan-Pacific Para-Swimming Championships, where she achieved 4 personal best times on her way to winning 6 gold medals. This came off the back of the 2013 IPC Swimming World Champs, where she nailed 5 gold medals and a silver.
I think getting swimming success, you always have to be looking at things that you haven't been able to do in the past. So it's really just pushing myself in terms of all the technical aspects of swimming and the fitness aspects and the gym aspects and the nutrition aspects.
At the Wellington Sports Awards, Mary was named Sportswoman of the Year and Disabled Sportsperson of the Year. Swimming New Zealand also named her Swimmer of the Year with a disability. National recognition came with a New Zealand Order of Merit, a surprise as well as an honour.
I definitely feel like swimming has done me a service rather than the other way around.
Sophie Pascoe has stayed on top of her game in the last 12 months and continued her domination as a Paralympic swimmer, both nationally and internationally.
Sophie Pascoe.
At the 2013 IPC Swimming World Championships, she retained 5 gold medals and broke 3 of her previous world records. At the Commonwealth Games, she picked up 2 gold medals, cleanly beating her field of 7 swimmers.
I would say what drives me the most for swimming is the challenge. Every day waking up, when your alarm goes off in the morning through till, the end of the day, going to bed, knowing that you've given 100% into what you love doing.
Earlier this year, Sophie was named a finalist for the Laureus World Sportsperson with a Disability Award. Currently ranked #1 in the world in her classification, she holds 11 world records.
The Paralympics empower the fact that disabled athletes are now becoming elite and professional athletes around the world is enormous.
If somebody had asked me 5 years ago that I would be a Paralympic medalist, I certainly wouldn't have believed them. So I guess it's just testament to how far I've actually come, having only taken up sit-skiing in 2011.
Just 2 years after a motorbike accident left him paralysed, Corey Peters took to the ski slopes, using his instincts from motocross to master the sit-ski. This meant he was representing New Zealand within a year of his first competition. Corey funded his early Paralympic campaign himself.
It's been pretty tough financially to self-fund the first couple of years especially. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication to achieve greatness in any sport.
At the Sochi 2014 Paralympic Winter Games, Corey lined up against a massive field of 45 sit-ski racers, backed by some of the strongest and richest ski nations in the world. The treacherous snow conditions on the day meant that medals would only go to the athletes who could combine technical precision with speed.
For Corey Peters to win New Zealand's first medals of these games.
He raced without fear, maintaining control.
For the gold, or is it silver? He's outside. It's silver medal for Corey Peters.
Corey's silver medal time was less than half a second shy of the gold.
I think my attitude to life now has completely changed since, after the accident. Being one of the lowest points of my life to now being one of the highest. It's been about really setting goals and working hard towards achieving them.
His was New Zealand's only Paralympic or Olympic medal from Sochi. And for that, he was named Snow Sports New Zealand Athlete of the Year.